Hi there, I'm back and I'm going to make another batch of ice cream. It is just past the midway point of September and we've had a really beautiful stretch of very summery weather. Temperatures in the mid to upper 70s and it's a little more humid than usual, so I'm going to go ahead and make one more batch of a nice icy frozen treat. Today I'm going to do something a little different though. Instead of using dairy whipping cream, I'm going to use coconut whipping cream. And pretty much what this is if you've ever bought a can of full fat coconut milk and then you get this, and usually the better quality stuff, you'll see that it's more obvious. You'll get this thick, very thick, pasty coconut fat sitting at the top. So pretty much what this can is the whole can is this coconut, the coconut cream that usually rises to the top. So it basically the whole can is just that. So I'm going to whip this. It's also quite a bit stiffer because you need to chill the can in the fridge at least overnight. I like to put it in there for several days, kind of forget about it, and then pull it out and whip it. You want it cold to get it going. So, and I'm gonna keep this just a plain vanilla flavor. That way I can use it for sundaes or ice cream cones or whatever. And because of that, I'm going to put a little more in. I'm going to put a full tablespoon of vanilla into my coconut whipping cream. And we'll get this stuff out of the way. I just found this in the natural foods aisle of my local grocery store that just happens to have a pretty extensive natural foods department. It's like 3 or 4 aisles along with frozen. So in that sense, I'm pretty lucky that I can find some stuff like this. I'm also going to use a different mixer today. Not that it matters, because like in my last ice cream video, you can use any mixer. As long as it has beaters and it runs, you can use it. This one is a Sunbeam that I found at Big Lots several years ago for $14. I bought it for craft purposes, like mixing or whipping things like shea butter, cocoa butter, and that sort of thing to make body butters. And because I thought if I blow it out or burn out the motor, I don't want to do that on my good Cuisinart. So I went ahead and bought this, but I kind of fell off the wagon of doing that kind of DIY stuff. So I thought, what the heck, I'll pull it out and do this because this is really super thick. So I'm going to go ahead and get this started. Not only that, the lowest speed on here is pretty fast. That's the downside of it for delicate things like homemade mayonnaise and such. Try not to, I hope you can't hear that. Romeo's crying. So I'm just going to drown him out right now and get this whipping. I have a towel back here as a splatter screen. Keep my espresso machine and tea kettle as clean as possible. So this is just on the number 1, the low speed. Make sure we get all the lumps out. It's a really nice cream, but it's very lumpy. And in fact, I'm going to put it up on 2. Oh, I can smell the vanilla. It smells wonderful. All right, so the interesting thing about using coconut whipping cream is it's already thickened. You just want to get all the lumps out and get any flavoring in there that you might like. But here it is. It looks nice, whipped and smooth. And I'm just going to go ahead and add my sweetened condensed milk. Now, I have found at the same grocery store a coconut milk version of the sweetened condensed milk. In fact, I used it in my ice cream in the blender video a couple of years ago, and it's wonderful. I can't always find it, though. It's a little bit trickier to find because I don't think it's a super popular item, so they don't restock it all that quickly when they run out. So I have half a can left of my regular sweetened condensed milk, so I'm just going to go ahead and put that in. And this cream has a lot more body to it. It's not as delicate as dairy whipping cream. So I can go ahead and just pour this in right on top. I don't think I'm going to flatten it because you're not really whipping air into this. It's already thickened. So I'm just going to go ahead and get that mixed in. Well, I am left-handed, so I apologize for any shadow I might get in the way here, but you can see they are two different shades of white there, so you can tell when you've gotten it all in there and when the streaks are gone. Now, when this comes out of the freezer, it's going to taste just like dairy ice cream. The texture might be slightly different, but because, even though it isn't dairy fat, it's coconut fat, which is also very, very rich. So, yeah, I think we're almost there. Can't really... Well, like I said, you don't have to worry too much with this about knocking the air out of it because it doesn't whip the same way. Like I said, it's already thickened. So there it is, all mixed together. And I'm going to get this covered and put in the freezer. And let's see how that comes out. Okay, same thing as before. Here, a little bit of plastic wrap. Now, I have tried this. I did try this recently with parchment paper. And it did work okay, but it's a little more expensive. But then I also had to put a lid over it. That's what I was going to say. I had to put a lid over it because the paper, was sticking up like this big, like giant flower petals in bloom, and which really didn't fit in the freezer very well. And then every time I put it in, it would cause it to peel back. So I had to use a bowl that had a lid to hold the paper down. So let me get this in the freezer real quick. Okay. I didn't scrape this off because I just have to taste this to see how it is here. It tastes so good. It tastes just like any other ice cream base. It's absolutely delicious. And I wanted to test too because it was a full can of the whipping cream to only half a can of the sweetened condensed milk. But I think the sweetness level works. It works just perfectly. The other thing too, in case you're not familiar with the coconut whipping cream, well, this particular brand, I don't know if other brands have the exact same ingredients, but let's see, where is it? Ta-da. There it is, right at the bottom there. It is the coconut cream, and then virgin coconut oil. There is some coconut sugar in here and guar gum for a little bit of thickening. So it is a little bit sweet to start with, not a lot. So if you decide you'd like to try this to make ice cream or maybe whipped cream for a vegan cream pie or a vegan lemon meringue pie or something like that, which would be awesome, you might want to, after whipping it to kind of smooth it out and get the lumps out, kind of taste it. See, it might already be sweet enough for you without having to add more sugar or sweetener of any kind. So let's check on our frozen treat as soon as it is ready. Okay, I just pulled it out of the freezer. It's been about an hour and a half, maybe a little longer. You can see the bowl is really cold and frosty. And let's, it's not completely frozen hard, but it's almost there. So I'm just going to take a little bit out of here to see, because I know the texture is going to be a little different than if I had used the dairy whipping cream. It is quite a bit firmer. I hope you can see that. You can see it's a little bit like chunkier almost. I have had manufactured coconut milk ice cream before, and I like it quite a bit, but I remember having to pull it out of the freezer for a good half hour before you could even get a scoop into it. Mmm. It doesn't have ice chunks in it. It is a very creamy feel on the palate, but there are some harder pieces in there. Not ice. It's hard to describe because it's not dairy milk, so you don't have the same fat. It is fat, but it's not quite the same. But it tastes fantastic. A wonderful, rich vanilla flavor. Mmm. So I'm pretty sure I'm going to have to let this sit out for a little while if I want to get a, an ice cream scoop or a spoon into it. Which, isn't the end of the world, but it is kind of hard to be patient sometimes because this stuff tastes so good. So, again, that is my 3-ingredient ice cream, 3 with vanilla in there, that is, using coconut whipping cream instead of dairy whipping cream. And again, if you want to do it completely vegan, you can find if you can't find it in a local store, look online because I know Amazon sells it, is coconut milk, sweetened condensed milk. So there are other alternative milks that you can find that are sweetened in the same way and have that same syrupy texture as regular sweetened condensed milk. But this is gorgeous. This tastes wonderful. I can't wait for this to be completely firmed up so I can have an ice cream cone. So on that note, I hope this is helpful to you and that you enjoyed yet another ice cream video. If you like my videos, please give them a thumbs up. And with that, have a great day. Bye-bye.